Back with another Savage stream. Thanks everybody for tuning in and checking out my channel. I know that I've been absent the last couple of days. Been struggling with content. There's so much to cover, and I need some Adderall or something. I need some focus pills. I don't know. I think that's what Adderall does, right? Makes you focus. I need something because I end up trying to figure out some content for one thing, and then I go on to something else, or I get distracted, like squirrel or whatever, and I just end up not finishing what I started. So I'm getting, I don't know, I need to get better at that. I need to get more focused and actually put stuff together. I was doing pretty well there for a while, but it just seems like lately it's been pretty overwhelming with the amount of info that is out there and that I would like to cover, So that's kind of why today I did a poll. I did a Twitter poll and asked like, hey, what, basically like, what should we cover tonight on the stream? And the winner was Raven. It was like a 45-minute poll, so there's only like 11 votes, but at one point, CCX, Raven, and the Antminer E9 from Bitmain were all the same. These were all like 27.3 or whatever it was at the time, but I was like, I'm gonna have to cover 3 different things. So someone put in because that was with 10 votes, so the 11th vote actually bumped it up for Raven. So I figured we would cover a little bit of Raven tonight. It's one of those things that there's a lot of talk about Raven being potentially the coin that everyone moves their hash rate or hash power over to once Ethereum goes to proof of stake, or even possibly EIP 1559, whenever that occurs in July, I believe, that people are going to start pointing their rigs to Raven because of the profitability. The yield is higher. Ravencoin has a 5,000 Raven block reward still because they haven't even halved yet. The halving is coming up in next year, probably around January 2022. I don't know what the speculative date is right now, but I think that it is January, late January of 2022. So they'll be going from 5,000 because they are a code fork of Bitcoin, so they follow the same halving schedule, basically, right? So you've got 210, in their case it's going to be 210 million, 2.1 million blocks, I think is what it is. I'm going to get all mixed up on the numbers, but I think that's right. Anyway, it's a 4-year cycle, essentially around 4 years, depending on block times and all that cool stuff. So they will be having, so that's going to go from 5,000 Raven down to 2,500 Raven per block. But the thing is that when Ethereum goes to EIP 1559, supposedly, again, all that is like up in the air. They're going to go to 1559, but what I mean is the profitability on the mining side of it is still up in the air, because we're looking at Ethereum right now getting close to 3,000 USD value, and for basically EIP 1559, the effects of it, that base fee burn and all that stuff that we've talked about extensively on the channel here, and a lot of other channels have covered it, but basically the impact of that might be overcome by the value of Ethereum. And I said that way early on. I was like, listen, if Ethereum is 3,000 or 3,500 USD value, EIP 1559 is a non-issue, because it basically balances everything out in a way. Obviously there's a lot of play there, but there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things at play. But if the Ethereum value goes up so high, then the impact is going to be felt less. I've been saying all along that we cannot get comfortable with, in my case, a 4-year-old rig, basically 3.5-year-old rig, with RX 580s, we cannot get complacent on that rig earning $30 a day or $25 a day mining Ethereum, because that is not realistic, right? So it's not something that is sustainable, in my opinion, because just the sheer mechanics of how mining works. With that much profitability, more miners are coming online, more people are mining, but and I mentioned this before too in a bunch of other videos, the shortage of GPUs is what's keeping the profitability of mining Ethereum so high right now, right? That's one of the things. It's never just one thing. Don't think that that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that that is the only reason, but it's one factor, right? It's one factor that people, because let's be honest, if right now anyone could just go out and buy the latest and greatest GPUs at MSRP, we would not be seeing that great of mining profitability on Ethereum, because there would be more miners online and all that stuff. Then you also have the ASICs coming out, A11, that one's already out. That's in the silicon. The Bitmain E9, I think, is the speculative one. I was going to actually do a video on that, but that's supposed to be coming out. I believe it's 3,000 mega hash, so 3 gigahash at 2,500 watts or something like that. It's pretty seriously efficient, basically crushing, if it is true and if it does actually operate like that, then that's going to crush that 1 mega hash per watt, kind of a theoretical goal that everybody was having. That's huge. And I don't know how much the thing's going to cost. It's going to have to be a lot, and it's going to be a risk, because we saw with it. I know I'm kind of getting on Ethereum, but and this is supposed to be about Ravencoin. I'm not looking at the chat just yet either, so hopefully all this is hopefully the sound and stuff is good. I've made some adjustments, so hopefully all that's good. And I totally lost my train of thought, so maybe I can get back on Ravencoin. What was I going to say? I was going to say I was talking about the ASIC, the E9, theoretical one. Yeah. Totally lost. All right, I'm gonna check the chat, see if you guys can remind me over here. What's going on, guys? What is up? Chancoin, what's up? Jay Bohannon, what is up? Sonia Near. Picture quality is fuzzy. It looks good on my end. I can even read all the text in the shirt. It looks fine to me, but I don't know. Let me know if you guys are experiencing some. I'm showing great content, connection, excellent connection. I'm not dropping any frames or anything, so I think that it's all good. Although I did just see a flash. I don't know what that was. That was kind of weird. Sonia Near, hit me up in Discord, my Discord. We can probably talk about that. Yeah, well, Guild War, everybody's going to be hit by 1559. It's not it's a non-discrimination thing. It's going to hit everybody about the same, as far as percentage wise. Yeah, I was going to say something about those ASICs. I forget though. All right, let's get back on Ravencoin here, because I do have I pulled up a lot of articles. One of the complaints that I always had about, well, not always, but recently had about Ravencoin was the modernization, right? And attracting talent, like new talent, fresh talent, that kind of thing. Tron and all the lead devs done great. Awesome. The things that they've done is pretty impressive. I just think that one of the things that they're missing, especially in today's market with NFTs and all that, is just a great interface. Just look at, I always bring this up, but look at Uniswap or any of those types of interfaces. It is the user experience is really high, right? So like you don't have to have, I mean, there are ways of getting tripped up, and if you don't understand some of the terms, I get all that. But as far as like the interface, the way that you interact with that network is pretty easy and straightforward and all that. And I think that especially on the NFT side or asset creation and asset management side, it would seem like you could make a very slick, very easy, high-end, modern interface for Ravencoin. Whether it's creating the assets, because I've said this in a bunch of my streams. People typically are not going to, a business is typically not going to fire up the QT wallet, their own QT wallet, Ravencoin QT wallet, desktop wallet, to manage their business. I don't think that should be a goal of Ravencoin. It's like, hey, if you're a business and you want to use Ravencoin and manage your assets and distribute rewards and all that stuff, I think that you really need to use the QT wallet from 2011, right? I mean, that's just not, I don't think that that's the way it should work. I think that they need that super high-end, focused on usability, user interface, kind of web-based for sure, interface for creating and managing the assets. There's Mango Farms assets, which is great. He's done a lot of great stuff. There's the IPFS. He just created the IPFS gateway, and that for Ravencoin, really neat. I'll probably show you that in a minute. But I think hopefully everybody that is familiar with Ravencoin kind of understands what I'm getting at here. They just need that. They just need that fresh new look, the modern interface. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Let me know if I'm tripping or not, because I think that's something that they should really look at. Like here's the QT wallet. Don't think that I have 2.8 million at Raven. This is testnet. Okay. So this is basically the interface with the network if you want to go outside of command line, right? So if you want a GUI based interface, this is it. And this is the wallet, the QT wallet, the desktop wallet. And this is not something that you would be able to pitch to a business to actually use. There are clearly other projects that are just much easier to use, much more modern. I really can't stress that enough. It just seems like that would be the goal, or a goal. Now the thing is that, and this is what everybody also kind of fails to realize, is that Raven doesn't have, it's not a business. There's not someone you can contact. There's lead devs, Tron Black and those guys. There are devs that you could contact, but as far as the project itself, it's a community project. Anyone could build something for Ravencoin and hopefully get it accepted, right? If the miners agree to it, then if all the GitHub stuff is done, the pull requests and all that stuff, and it's approved or put into the code, and the miners actually run that version, then it's implemented. So anyone can do that. That's what makes it a community project, which is one of the benefits of it. But it's also a drawback. It's also it causes problems whenever you need things done that take time, like building a sweet web-based interface. That's going to take time. It's probably already being worked on, but it takes a lot of time, developer time, and this is not the year 2009. We aren't doing this altruistically anymore. People who spend time doing work in crypto development should not be expected to do that work for free. We are not Satoshi Nakamoto, okay? So we've got to get out of that mindset of, hey, there's why aren't all these devs just doing all this work for free? And we can't think like that. It takes time. A lot of the devs, especially at this stage, the devs and users and pretty much everybody in crypto have other jobs. There are a lot of people like myself, and a lot of the devs have other full-time jobs, you know, and they do development, crypto development, and there are a lot that are full-time, but you get what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the people that are in the crypto space also have other jobs. So yeah, we got to get out of that mindset of doing all this stuff for free. And you know, they being the Ravencoin lead devs, or the Ravencoin devs in the community, set up the Ravencoin Foundation. I believe it's through, I'm going to mess up the names, but it's Medici Ventures, I believe, has something to do. I think they fund, I could get this so wrong, but I'm not really good with how the money flows or how the funding flows. But the Ravencoin Foundation is set up, and they are working on stuff, new features of Ravencoin. And I've seen some tweets and some pretty cool stuff. That one thing that they really needed to fix is the mobile wallet, for sure. The mobile wallet, yeah, it needed some work, and I think that is something I want to say that's one of the first things that we're probably going to see, is a really slick, updated mobile wallet. I think that's probably one of the first things we'll see. That'll be cool. All right, let me check the chat, see what you guys are up to over there. What's up, Charles Fold? Hey, what's up, Serpent? Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, thanks, guys. All right, so let's see. Okay, I just pulled up some articles and whatnot. You know, if you're not familiar with Ravencoin, it is a peer-to-peer blockchain handling the efficient creation and transfer of assets from one party to another. So that's their primary focus. That's their primary goal. The cool thing about Ravencoin, whenever all this NFT stuff came out, is Ravencoin saw that as a thing. Now, obviously, there were non-fungible tokens even before that, with the ERC 721 and all that with Ethereum, but it's way more difficult and on Ethereum than it is on Ravencoin to create a token like that, a non-fungible token, NFT. And they saw that it could be a thing way back in 2018. Actually, I think it was 2017? 2018. Yeah, 2018 is whenever they saw it. And they had created unique assets, you know, that capability, which on Ravencoin is essentially an NFT. And we've done it on the channel here a few times. We've created NFTs and whatnot. We have, maybe that was what the flash was. I was probably moving my mouse around and minimize my windows or something. William Ferguson, I would say, I know it works on Exodus. I'm not really that familiar with Exodus, but it's not that whether or not Ravencoin assets could be stored in the wallet or not. I get that, but there needs to be a better interface for managing the assets. If Ravencoin is going to be, you know, have the assets in addition to Ravencoin itself. A lot of people focus on Ravencoin, you know, RVN and those tokens themselves, just those, the native, you know, token of Ravencoin. But there's also all the assets on Ravencoin. And I know that wallets support Ravencoin, like Zelcore supports it, but Zelcore has to update the asset list with each update of Zelcore. So there's no interface for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's probably a technical issue, but they can't interface directly with the Ravencoin asset layer, I guess. So they can't see all the assets that are out there. It has to like load it into Zelcore. I don't know if maybe Exodus works the same way, but I'm not referring to just storing Raven. There's plenty of wallets that do that. I'm talking about managing the assets on the Ravencoin network. That's what I'm talking about. And maybe it does, but I don't think that it's even if it does, it probably isn't as slick as what I'm thinking it needs to be. So, but yeah, back to the NFTs. You know, we created NFTs on Ravencoin on this channel a few times. We were doing a Pocket Change XD business that I need to get back to, and you know, the little scenario that we were bringing up with that, and doing all kinds of cool stuff with creating NFTs and different sub assets and different areas of the business and all that cool stuff. We ended, I think the last thing we did was the restricted assets, which is like a security token offering. I was going to play around some more with those, because that is something also that, you know, is really significant to Ravencoin, is being able to issue a security token offering in a SEC compliant way, right? So that is something that we probably need to play around with, because I would like to show how to lock an asset or freeze an asset or freeze tokens so that they can't be sent in the cases of, you know, like a government or a court order or some type of government restriction, you know, on those specific tokens. Now, that everybody hates to hear that because we're talking about crypto, but that is just a feature of Ravencoin. It is not saying that Ravencoin is related to, you know, getting locked or whatever by the SEC or government. I'm saying that if you launch an STO on Ravencoin, you can be compliant by the KYC stuff and all those requirements for a security token offering. Ravencoin itself is not an STO. Ravencoin just supports STOs on its platform. Is the easiest way to look at it. All right, so that is what we were kind of working on there. Let's look at the value, USD value of Ravencoin here real quick. So you got it's down to about 16 cents, and it has gone on a heck of a run this year, but you see that it's kind of ranging around that 20 cents, and I know that seems like there's a lot of orders around the 18-cent mark, and right now you can see there's definitely a dip. And man, that it went all the way down to 13 cents, which would have been a good entry point, I think. I don't know. I'm not a TA guy, but this kind of looks, I don't know. This looks kind of good to me. And obviously, I'm just looking on CoinGecko, so this is not, you know, definitely not like financial advice. I'm not going to draw any lines for you guys, but you know, this looks pretty good entry to me. I don't know. That's just me. 16 cents. Anything under 20, like at this point, seems to be pretty good. With some development, with some like a really slick wallet, you could see some pretty cool stuff happening with Ravencoin. I think that, you know, and I say this all the time about Raven, there's the built-in features of asset creation. And I don't know, I don't know how many people are in here and how many regulars and how many people we normally have that know about Ravencoin, but basically like to create a main asset. So let's say you were going to start running a business on Ravencoin and tokenize it and selling shares and selling tokens or whatever, you know, whatever the case may be, then, you know, you're going to create a main asset, and that costs 500 Raven. All right. Now, whenever Raven is a penny, or was a penny, that's pretty cheap. But if Raven is $1, then that, you know, and I know I hate doing the whole relationship between USD value, but you have to kind of compare it to something, right? So that you can kind of understand the value. So, you know, you're looking at, if Raven was $1, it's $500 to create a main asset. And there are only like 26,000 main assets created. And a while back, whenever I was doing other Ravencoin content, I think I was doing some actual asset creation with HashRaptor, Red Panda Mining, SerpentX. I think that was it. Just those three. I believe I created their main asset for, and Brandon Coin. Still haven't recovered that Brandon Coin asset. Anyway, so I got to get on that. So I created their main asset for them and then sent it to them. But see, at the time, whenever we were creating those assets, it was only like $10 or $8 or something like that. I think mine, whenever I created Savage Mine, I believe it was $15 or something like that. You know, you again attributing it to or comparing it to USD value, which I know it's kind of silly with crypto, but yeah. So if Ravencoin goes to $1, you're talking about 500 USD value to create a main asset. And to create a restricted asset, like in the case of an STO, a security token offering, you are talking about 3,000 if you have to create the main asset in addition to the restricted asset and all those other assets, the tags and all that. Then you're talking about 3,000 Raven that get. Now the cool thing is that it gets burned, right? So it gets sent to a burn address that's inaccessible. So it's basically taken out of circulation. It's not, you can't delete the coins. They are on the network and they attribute to supply or the total supply, but they are inaccessible and not in circulation, so to speak, right? So you can always look at those addresses to find those burn addresses to find out how many assets or how many tokens or coins are in there. I got to quit calling them tokens. They're not tokens. It's weird with Ravencoin because, you know, you have the assets that you create, and it's kind of, it leads you to call them tokens whenever it's really not coins. So it's Ravencoin. That's in the name, right? So you got Ravencoin. Anyway, so it's in that burn address, and so it does remove some of the supply whenever you create it. But just think about this: if you were a small business, let's say you were a small business and you were wanting to create a main asset on Ravencoin, and let's just say that Ravencoin goes on this crazy run and it goes to $10. Well, now to create a main asset, that would be $5,000, right? Am I doing the math right? I think that's right. It would be $5,000 to create a main asset. That's kind of insane, right? I mean, put it this way: if you were a small business, mom and pop shop, and you wanted to create a main asset on Ravencoin, you would have to put in, you know, that money. You would have to buy that 500 Raven at least in order to create that asset. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you would have to compare the USD value, because you'd have to get it from fiat, or you could get it from another crypto and swap it and all this. I get all that, but I'm just saying, you know, to relate it to an actual fiat value, then yeah, it would be like $5,000, and that's kind of a limiting factor for Ravencoin to be used for those smaller businesses. So what's the solution? Well, this was brought up to Tron Black apparently a bunch of times. He's addressed it. It's something that could change in the future. Like if something really gets crazy, they could lower the devs, the core devs could put in the code for lowering the amount of tokens it requires, coins it requires to burn to create an asset. You know, they could change these numbers, in other words. So it's not a final number if it got to that point to where it needed to be done. And of course, it would be a minor vote type situation, right? So it's cool to see that that's possible, that this is not something that is not changeable, you know, permanent and all that. So anyway, all right, good grief. I haven't even brought up one article yet, and it's already 10 o'clock. I like Ravencoin a little bit, as you can tell. All right, let me find something that we can discuss. Oh, okay, so here's something. Unicorn X. I guess this is an exchange. I don't know anything about it, but I do know that apparently it's possible at some point to trade Ravencoin assets. For example, I could potentially get the Savage Mine asset listed on this exchange and trade it. Okay, that sounds crazy, right? It is kind of crazy, but it is possible. And what was I going to show you? I've got so many tabs open. Right, this is more than I normally have. I know you can't see them because I have them hidden, but good grief, man, I have a ton of tabs. All right, so I'll just keep going down the line. But anyway, I believe that this can support. They actually initially created this someone, I don't know who it was, they created a RavenX was the name of it. Maybe it became Unicorn X. I don't know how that worked. I wasn't following it that close, but RavenX was a Ravencoin asset exchange, right? RavenX, and they shut down, or they became Unicorn X. I don't know the whole story behind it. If somebody in the chat knows, or maybe comments later, if you guys know how that worked, let me know in the chat or the comments. I don't know the whole story about it. But I thought that was cool, you know, being able, this is something, I can't remember the name of the feature in Raven, but it will allow, and I don't know if it's 100% implemented yet, because I asked Tron Black around about it a long time ago, like sometime last year, about whether or not exchanges could actually list like an STO or just a main asset on, which you wouldn't really want to do because you want to be compliant. So let's call it an STO. So whether or not you could list an STO, security token offering, on one of these exchanges and actually trade it. I think it was called compatibility mode. It was something like that. I want to call it compatibility mode, but it was something like that, where you only changed the port number that was assigned to the wallet. You know, like you would run the same code on the exchange that you run for Raven, but the port would be different. I think it was the only thing. There would be a limited number that you could run on an exchange, but I know that they were working on whether or not, I don't know if that's implemented or not, but that's a cool feature as well, being able to actually trade those things, your assets. So talking about some assets here, there's all these explorers. There's quite a few of them out there. This is just one. You've got this one over here. That's not a Ravencoin Explorer. I'm looking. I've got a lot of things open here. Not that. I thought I had more than one Explorer. Anyway, if you go to Ravencoin.org and then go to community, basically this is where you can kind of find all the info about Ravencoin. And I think that this is another one. Try that one. Yeah, so like this is a Ravencoin Asset Network Explorer. There's 26,334 assets on the blockchain. I don't know if that is only main assets, or if that is, I would assume that that's probably, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how that works. I don't think it would be well, it might be including, yeah, it would have to be including even unique assets. It's probably all assets. So that's kind of a real super low number in my opinion. 26,334 since 2018. Seems like there would be more, but anyway, a cool one. You know, people wonder if Ravencoin is being used for anything in the real world, you know, the use cases and all that. Well, one of the cool usages of Ravencoin is the Tinaga, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Island Resort in the Philippines. So they are tokenizing, I believe the way that it's worked is they already bought the land, I believe, but they are looking to create a resort, and then the way that they're going to fund it is through selling, you can see here, I think it's 100 million. Yeah, 100 million Tinaga Island Resort, basically an STO. Okay, so a security token offering, and you can see that it's actually being used. Like if you look at the dates that things are being transferred, so that they're actually selling this. And I think if you go to, you could probably do a whole show on just this. I want to say, yeah, see, so you just go to Tinaga Island Resort.com and they've got a buy now. So you can actually, I don't know how far you can get. Like, I think you have to like sign up, and I don't know how this works for like being an accredited investor and all that stuff. I don't know how that works, but They are not even opening until November 16th. That's whenever it starts. So this is kind of a cool thing, right? I mean, if there's one use case of Ravencoin, and I brought this up in a lot of other shows about Ravencoin, it would be real estate. I mean, I really think that. So the example I always bring up is this. All right, let's just say, and we're going to do this with the Pocket Change XD business. I'm gonna figure out like either an office complex or a strip mall or something, and kind of like do an example of how this could work. And this is what Tanaga Resorts is actually doing. So let's just say that Savage Mine bought a mining farm, or let's just say it's a mining trailer, like one of those shipping containers, right? And I've got the location already set up. I've got power. I've got, internet. All I need to do is, well, let's say that none of that is done except for the land. Like we plotted out the land, but I need to get some funding, right, for the equipment and the miners, the GPUs or whatever. Not that we can buy GPUs right now, but you get my point, right? So equipment, all that not even operating expense, that initial investment expense. So I could say, launch the STO on Ravencoin network and say, if you want to invest in this, then here's basically I'm offering, 10,000 tokens for, let's say I needed to raise, let's say I felt like in my business plan that I needed to raise $100,000 to get this off the ground and to start making money with it, right? So let's say I offered 100,000 tokens just to make the math easy, then that would be $1 per token. Then the people that invest, whether you sent, you could set up an interface for actually sending the either Raven or Fiat or whatever to an address or to an account, and then that would all get worked out with how many tokens you get issued, right? So let's say that Nemesis not donates, but he invests, let's say $1,000, right? So he gets 1,000 of those tokens. Then let's just say that the token sale ends and everybody, all 100,000 tokens have been sold, and so I've basically made I have a total of $100,000 of investors' money. Now, that goes into the business. The business starts making money. The little shipping container full of GPUs or whatever the case is, then it starts making money, right, on mining and all that stuff. Well, then I can distribute the rewards, the profits, to those token owners of that STO using the Ravencoin network. I can distribute those the profits in Raven or in my token, like in this case, let's say it would be. This is why we need to do it in a scenario, so that, like the Pocket Change XD scenario, so that we can work through all these little details of how that would work, like the distributing the rewards or the profits and all that stuff. But that's what the Ravencoin network is designed for, is doing that type of thing. I think it's super cool. I actually started this process on with the GPU hosting situation. I've got one GPU out there. Like if you go to an Explorer, let's go to an Explorer, Asset Explorer here, and let's look for Savage Mine. And it is out there. And then you see these two tokens right here, or two assets. I keep saying tokens. Savage Mine, that's my top level, my main asset. But I also have a unique asset here called GPU and then a serial number. Well, if I click on that, it's got an IPFS right here. So then I can click on that and it's a PDF. Basically, I think I can just click on this. Yeah, there you go. So this is on IPFS, the Interplanetary File System, and this was like from 2 years ago, okay? And it's showing you. All I was trying to do is come up with a picture that has the picture of the GPU, its serial number, and then a picture of it in the rig running and earning, right? And that's basically all this is. So this is what I would send to the owner of this GPU, right? So they would get this asset in their Ravencoin wallet. Then, whenever there were profits from this GPU mining, maybe on a monthly basis, I could distribute those rewards to the token owner, to the owner of this specific asset, okay? This asset right here. I could distribute the rewards to that, whoever owns that token. So for example, let's say that you own that GPU, but then you sold that GPU to another user. Well, you don't even have to contact me and say, hey, I sold that GPU to somebody else. I don't need to know that, because whoever owns that token, whoever owns that asset, I keep saying token, stop doing that. Whoever owns that asset is who gets distributed the rewards, right? And then if they can prove, let's say that they wanted to retrieve the GPU and have me send it to them, then they could just send me a message from that wallet that has that token in it, has that asset in it, and that would verify, it would be a signed message, an encrypted message, and that would verify ownership of that specific asset. Then we could communicate that way, through encryption, through messaging in the wallet. And that's something that Ravencoin is also working on, is the messaging side of it. So it might be even easier in the future. But once all that's worked out, addresses and all that stuff, then I could ship them the GPU and be done with it, right? And then I would take this one out. I would probably, let's say that they were no longer going to, well, what I would have to do is I would probably burn that asset, because now that asset is not under me anymore, right? So then I would just send that asset and burn it. And so again, there's a lot of complications to how all this stuff works, and that's why they need that super awesome modern interface. And I just really can't stress that enough. All right, that's how I feel about that. But yeah, this is really cool stuff. You can see, like, this is pretty old over here, 2 years old. Is whenever I was creating those assets and stuff. But that's kind of what we were going to do. We were going to have it set up that way. It just never materialized because we had to wait on like rewards, and there were some other features of Ravencoin that we were waiting on, and I just never really attacked it again. It's probably something I should look at, but I kind of wanted to get through the Pocket Change XD thing first before we go into like the real world stuff. But I can tell you this, back then, whenever I was creating all these assets, that's what I was going to say earlier, I think, is whenever we were creating these assets and I was creating it for Brandon Coin and Red Panda and all that, it was like $8 or $9, $15 maybe at the most. Now to create a main asset at 500 Raven at say 20 cents, we'll just make it easy. I know it's only 16, but 20 cents, that's $100. So right now, what is it, $80 or something like that? $80 US to create a main asset. So back then I was telling everybody, I remember saying it, I don't know if it was in a stream or in a video, a produced video or not, but I can remember saying, whenever Raven was like at 2 cents, I was like, everybody should be creating all of their assets right now, because this is super cheap. If you don't have an asset already, you should be creating one. And I regret not creating a bunch of them, right? Just creating whatever I could think of, But the cool thing is that you can use that main asset to create sub assets underneath it, right? And the sub assets are actually a little less expensive, right? So a sub asset is only 100. And then underneath that, or not even underneath that, but you could also create unique assets. Those are really cheap, 5 Raven. But, if you're a business that, let's say that you're doing NFTs or something like that, that's what a unique asset is. It's only 5 Raven, but what if Raven was $10? Now to create a unique asset, it's $50, right? So you can see how it can get kind of out of hand depending on the actual USD value of Raven. Yeah, we need to go over, these are some of the things that we're going to talk about in in the Pocket Change XD scenario that we've been working on. All right, so let's go back over here to, let me flip back through some. So that, okay, so that is mine. Let's look for Tanaga Island. So you can see right here, Tanaga Island Resort, it's active, right? So there's things going on with this particular security token offering, right? This STO. So they are transferring, you know, quantities of the 100 million. These are probably, if I was to guess, I would say that some of these are probably the insiders, you know, the people that are inside investor, angel investors, however you want to look at it. Maybe the founders, maybe the people that are closest to, you know, setting this thing up and working on it. I would imagine that that has something to do with this. But I mean, you've got, you know, not huge amounts here, but they could be doing some type of a pre-sale too. You know, there's no telling what's going on here, but it is cool to see that it's being used, right? I mean, something's happening, right? It says that there's 48 addresses for that, so that would be, you know, 48 potential angel investors or founders or however you want to look at it. So that's kind of cool. All right. Yes, it's active. It's active. That's all. That's the good part. All right, let's see here. What else we got? So that was Tanaga. All right, so Raven nodes. We can talk about nodes for a minute, because one of the things that I've been wanting to do, I used to have a Raven node running on a Pi, and I think I used that Raspberry Pi for something else, and I just never set it back up. So that's something I want to do. I want to do a new node. So I got the little can of kit thing here from Amazon, and I just haven't built it yet. So that's something I probably will do a video on. We'll probably build this. I don't know if it'll be a live stream or like a just regular video, but we'll go through a can of kit and actually build a Ravencoin node on a Raspberry Pi. So I think that's kind of cool. Looking forward to that. I just haven't got around to it yet, but that's neat. It looks like there's only 641. Hey, what's up, Crypto Badell? Max Voltage Raid. Oh, he was live too? I think I got a notification, but it was like right after, I think it was right after I started my stream. So I was like, oh, we're stepping on each other's toes here. But hey, what's up, Max? Yeah, so it looks like there's 641 reachable nodes. That just means that they have the ports open and they accept incoming connections and all that. There's probably a ton more that don't, you know, but 641 isn't bad. I don't know if that's an all-time high or not. I don't think so, but it may be an all-time high. I remember seeing this number a while back. I think whenever I put my node on, it was like number 200 or something. It was down there. So this is kind of good to see that there's more Raven nodes coming online. It definitely helps the health of the network to have more nodes online. And the funny thing is, the more nodes are online, the faster that you can synchronize a node, right? So it makes things a lot quicker. Well, not a lot quicker, you know, but it does make it quicker whenever there's more nodes online that you can download the blockchain data from. So that is cool. And again, we'll look at building that. I know that Son of a Tech did a pretty recent video on a Ravencoin node, building a node, and I might use his as kind of like a guide to do mine, but I think I'll get more into the actual node itself, putting the Raspberry Pi together and stuff. I don't believe that he went through all that on his video, so I think I'll focus on that, and then also just the setup and stuff. I think I do need to grab an external SSD for it though. I think I got a 64 or 128 SD card, so it might be enough, but I know that it's best to run on an SSD, run the blockchain data off of an SSD and not the SD card. Although I do believe that I ran it that way before and it was fine, but something I'll have to look at before I actually get into it. Whew. Yeah, I could talk a lot about Ravencoin. I could talk all night about Ravencoin. But I'm not going to. It's already an hour almost. Let's see. Let me flip through these and see if there's. Oh, this was cool. All right. So Benzinga. This is benzinga.com, and apparently, you know, whenever we were talking about NFTs and like right now, you know, you got to kind of strike when the iron's hot, kind of thing, right? So, you know, NFTs are super hot right now. You can create an NFT on Ravencoin for super cheap. It ends up being, what is 5? That's $1, right? A little less than $1. It'd be about 80 cents or 90 cents to USD value to create an NFT. And that would be an NFT actually created on the Ravencoin network. Well, then what can you do with it? Well, you know, there are people that are using the Ravencoin network for NFTs right now. It just hasn't really caught on, you know, like there's a network effect that Ethereum has that it's hard to overcome. But with things like this coming, it makes sense that maybe at some point people will kind of gravitate to a network such as Ravencoin for NFTs, possibly, because it looks like P Network announced that they were working with Algo to allow users to move NFTs across 11 different blockchains, and one of those blockchains are Ravencoin. So I thought that this was pretty cool. I don't know all the details about how it works, but I thought that was pretty neat, being able to grab. It says right here, you know, so far P Network has support for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Litecoin, and, you know, Ravencoin, Telos, Algorand. And I think that that's pretty cool to be able to, if that partnership, however you want to look at it, it's not really a partnership because Ravencoin isn't a business like that. There's no one to really be a partner of. But, you know, with that type of integration, I think that that's pretty significant. And I think that might go somewhere with that. I think it's neat. I like to see I mean, I don't know where NFTs are going to go, how popular it's going to remain. It seems like it's not going to go away and it's not just a fad. So it's cool to see things like this being worked on, you know, especially in the NFT on Ravencoin realm. I think that's really cool. So you also have Raven NFT or rvnft.art. Let me actually drop that in the chat over there. I know I need to put all these in the description as well. So you can see right here, pretty basic, low cost NFT creation, full service NFT tokenization platform. That's what RVNFT is. And again, none of this is like sponsored. It's just stuff I ran across as I follow Ravencoin on Twitter and look into Ravencoin. This is the kind of stuff I run across, and I see it, you know, in various places. So this is kind of cool. It's basically, you know, you would work with them to create the NFT on the Ravencoin network. They're basically your art agent, and they have like a gallery page. Let's go to that. So we do have some, let's see, gallery is the ones that are not necessarily for sale, I think. Yeah, see, you have to go to the marketplace to see the ones that are for sale. Most of these are going to definitely have to do with Ravencoin, but not all of them do. This one's new. This was, I saw this the other day. This one's brand new. So let's go and look at the RVNFT. Let's go over here. And yeah, you can see, I believe you'll be able to see What was the name of that NFT that we just saw? Queen of Spades. Let's see if we see it over here on the Explorer. See, it looks like they've done some new ones here. Here's the Queen of Spades right here. So you see IPFS attachment right here, and that's the one that they are selling over there on the marketplace. Actually, this is not for sale, I guess, because this is just the gallery, not the marketplace. It might be for sale. I don't know. Let's go to the marketplace and see. Okay, yeah, it's definitely for sale. 150 Raven. So you can see how, you know, if the cost of NFTs, the creation and management and sale and all that stuff is more over or less over here than it is on Ethereum. I don't know how this works with, you know, because on Ethereum you can add in other features of the NFT, like for royalties and things like that. I don't know if you can do that on Ravencoin. That would be something that I need to look into. But you know, basically, if the NFT on Ethereum is sold, you can actually set it to where if it is sold, then the creator gets a certain portion of it, right? So think about how that would work for let's say the music business. Let's say you create a song, you create an NFT for a song. The NFT, yeah, actually there'd only be one. I was going to try to split it out into, you know, basically royalties for the creator. But I don't think you could actually do that with an NFT because there's only one. So forget that example. That's not going to work. But yeah, this is, you know, with the cross-platform capability that Benzinga article was talking about, Benzinga. You know, stuff like this could catch on. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not an NFT guy, but it seems like this has potential. You know, being able to get an NFT, like let's say that you could see this NFT, you could send it to an Ethereum user, for example. You could sell it on Ethereum and then get the NFT over there. Now, as far as the data, we all know that like the actual picture doesn't really mean anything. What means something is all that metadata, the history of the actual, you know, token or the actual asset itself. That's what is important. Because as I showed over here, like, you know, you had that Beeple 5K NFT that sold for like 69 million, right? And we created this NFT on the Ravencoin network that points to the exact same data. So this picture that you're going to see created here, it's like a 300 meg JPEG or something like that, the 5,000 days NFT. This is the same data, the same exact picture as what was sold for 69 million. The difference is that this is on Ravencoin and it's just an asset on Ravencoin network that points to the same IPFS data. Now, the actual asset itself is not worth anything, you know, in compared to the one that's on Ethereum, because the one on Ethereum is the one that has the history, is the actual token that was sold, the actual data, the history behind it, you know, whoever created it and all that stuff. That's not what's over here. We're just referencing the same data. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot of risk with NFTs like ABMNS production. I'm just going to say A production. ABMNS. Your name is hard for me to say, just like Serpent X Special Forces. Serpent XSF. Good grief. Yeah. Anyway. With the cool thing about Ravencoin, when you compare Raven to Ethereum with regards to the NFTs, you can't have a duplicate on Raven like you can on Ethereum. On Ethereum, you can have duplicate names. In other words, you could have two NFTs named exactly the same. The only thing that would be different would be the address, of course. But, you know, you can see how that would open up the possibilities for a lot of fraud, right? You know, people selling NFTs that aren't really the NFTs, but it looks like the NFT, you know, all that stuff. So on Raven, as long as you know the real name of the NFT, you cannot duplicate that name. So what I mean is there's no other, you know, there's no other asset on Ravencoin called, that's a sub asset or a NFT, a unique asset called Beeple 5K. It's not out there. Same for all these names. You cannot duplicate the names. Okay, Cedric. I'll try to remember to call you Cedric. Yeah, so there's no duplication, so there's less chance of fraud and people getting scammed and all that stuff. So that's certainly a benefit of NFTs on Ravencoin. Yeah, this thing takes forever to build up. Hey, what's up, Pocket Change? We've been talking about you a little bit. Thanks for tuning in. Some other use cases of Ravencoin. Let's see here. This was talking about the Vincent wines. I've talked about that before, probably a year or two ago. Vincent Wines they are a winery that uses Ravencoin tracking and for, you know, that basically creating a unique asset for each bottle of wine, I think is the way it works. And I think that they have actually implemented some kind of sourcing and tracking through the whole process, and kind of like a VeChain kind of thing. I think they do that now as well. So this is kind of cool. This is a use case, and this has been going on for a couple years with Vincent Winery. That's just one. Then you got Corviado, which is like a messenger on a decentralized chat application on Ravencoin. Uses IPFS. It seems very basic. I went there. I don't know. Yeah, this is what it looks like. So if you Corviado.com, try beta, it looks like this. I haven't signed up for it yet, but this is what it looks like. And I guess that this uses IPFS as a messenger, right? So it's all encrypted and all that cool stuff. Yeah, we were saying good stuff. We were just talking about the scenario that we're using with the Pocket Change business over here on Ravencoin testnet. Nothing bad. Nothing bad. I think that this had something to do with Ravencoin as well. An exchange, another exchange, Alpha Point. I couldn't find, I think there was actually an announcement or something in here that referenced Ravencoin. I'd have to look this up. This was like right before the stream. I found this. CryptoSX. This is the one, I believe that they're going to be hosting or having the Tanaga resorts on CryptoSX as well. And maybe that's where we're seeing the assets go to. It's possible. And this is CryptoSX. All right. Wow. Yeah, more than an hour. I've been yapping for more than an hour about Ravencoin. It's easy though. It's easy to talk that much about Raven. All right, so I don't see any real questions over here. I think everybody is content and happy, so that's good. Yeah, if you're just kind of getting here, the reason I haven't gone live the last couple of nights is I've been just struggling with content, not having any content, but having too much, right? So there's so many different things I want to cover, and it just it ends up being where I just can't focus. Yeah. So that's the way that works. Yeah, that's a good point, Chancoin. I think that that's true. I think that he should buy that NFT. on Ravencoin testnet. Actually, we could create this. It wouldn't be the same name. Actually, yeah, we could actually create the same name on the mainnet, and then we could sell it, or we could just do it all on testnet just for the heck of it. It would be cool. Yeah, it's been an hour of jam-packed Ravencoin info. At least it's not just like random, just talking about nonsense, right? I mean, I think I am covering some stuff that maybe not everybody knows. So I like doing that kind of stuff. Some people, you know, really skim the surface of the projects that they're interested in, and I have to confess, there's quite a few right now that I really need to dive into and understand a lot better. Some examples would be Haven. Because I used to know about Haven, and now they've changed a lot, and I need to get back in there and look at that. I need to look at Haven. I need to look at they're all going to escape me now. Let me bring up my blockfolio, and I'll tell you which ones I need. I'll tell you which ones I need to investigate a little bit further. Rune, Thorchain. Yeah, that one. That one, I definitely need to look at that one. Let's see. Hathor Network. That's another one. Flux has changed a lot. Oh my gosh. I need to see. You see how overwhelming it is? Like, whenever you really want to learn about the project, it takes a lot of effort. You know, it takes a lot of time. A lot of people just look at the value and whether or not it's going to go up. That's not me. I like to know how it works and why it works and where it's going, right? A good example, kind of a good example, is CCX, Conceal. If you haven't been paying attention, they've been on one heck of a run. They've gone basically 10x in a really short amount of time. They went from, I think they were all the way down to 8 cents, like a recent low, and now they're up above $1. So they've gone, you know, sort of parabolic. And there's a lot of chatter, and they haven't even released like the stuff that they're working on yet. So they've got a lot of things on the roadmap that they're getting ready to release. I think May 23rd is like the big date. I could have that wrong. It might be a different day, but sometime at the end of May. There's a little bit of a potential rebrand, which I'm not a fan of rebrands. You guys know that. I hate rebrands because it rarely works. Right? I mean, we got to be honest. Pocket Change. Yeah, you might be my #1 fan. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for the super chat. Super generous. I appreciate it. We are going to continue to do Pocket Change XD content, though, Ravencoin and all that stuff. So we will get back to this thing over here at some point. But yeah, so CCX, they made me lose my train of thought again. That's why I don't look at chat, because y'all distract me so bad. Yeah, I forget. I know I was talking about CCX, but I don't remember what the what the actual point was, other than they've gone parabolic and they haven't even released the things that they're working on in the roadmap. Yeah. Can't remember what else I was going to say. All right. Good grief. I could just, you know, I don't get to talk crypto with anybody really during the day. So this is always a fun time for me, is to be able to talk crypto with you guys. I think that it's something I look forward to, so I can kind of talk about crypto, which is something I'm super interested in. So it helps. It helps. Yeah, I hate rebrands, because for the most part, I was kind of going to talk about the rebrand for Conceal, because they were kind of going down this potential rebranding goal, but I think that it's going to be a light rebrand. It's not a total rebrand, from what I understand. And I don't know, I could be completely out to lunch there, but yeah, they just rarely work, and it's kind of a thing. I understand, you know, whenever it's warranted, whenever there's a really significant reason to do it. I'm not sure. I haven't been in their Discord that much, so I don't know exactly what the whole goal is. I think that possibly the name is a little dark, right? So like Conceal, is the name of it, and from a regulatory standpoint or from a government standpoint, that's kind of not a good name, right? I don't know if that's what they're planning on changing. I don't know. I don't have that information. But so my point is, sometimes it does make sense, but it just very rarely works. Maybe this time they'll knock it out of the park and it'll be awesome. I don't know. We'll see. But we've seen it fail numerous times before, or at least not really do anything good for the project. Rebranding, refocusing on goals and all that stuff. Because to me, it represents short-sightedness on the team behind the project, right? If at some point you're going to have to rebrand and kind of redo your whole thing, and you didn't see that coming, right? Whenever you were setting this whole thing up, I get it, things change, but there, I said my piece on that. Yeah. Yeah, Cedric, it's actually down below 50%. It's like the BTC dominance is way down there. I remember, I think it was 40 something. Yeah, 46 according to CoinGecko. Way low. I can remember I think it was 2018, whenever it was. Wasn't it like 40% in 2018? Something like that. It was way down there. Way down there. And I remember there was a lot of doomsday folks saying that like everything was over if Bitcoin goes back to above 50% dominance. Like as far as like the whole, all the altcoins and all that stuff, will disappear or whatever, right? And of course that didn't happen, but yeah, it's kind of funny how things work. Oh, thanks, Greg Facer. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I get long-winded, especially about projects that I like. I've been a fan so long, so it's really easy to just blast through an hour and 13 minutes of Ravencoin. All right, I am going to get out of here. I can't do it anymore. My throat's getting sore. Crypto Shape. I didn't lose any money because, funny story about me, or a fun fact about me. I've never gone back to fiat from crypto. And I joke about not knowing how, right? But I've never done it. The crypto that I have, that I bought initially or mined initially, at first I was only mining, and then I started buying a little bit here or there with fiat. I've never sold it, so I didn't lose any money because you don't lose it until you sell it, and so I didn't lose any money in 2018. I mean, it hurt to see the the USD value go down so much, but I mean, look at what's happening now. I mean, this is pretty solid. I've got I actually mentioned a project the other night. I think it was Monday night that I must have mined it for maybe a month, and it was probably less than that. And right now, that project had paid for all of my rigs at that time. Now, at the time, it was like $4 or $5 worth of whatever it was I was mining, right? But now it's worth enough. It was like, yeah, enough to pay off that initial investment of rigs. Because I did what you're not supposed to do. I did some credit card charges and stuff like that to actually get up and running on the initial hardware. And yeah, and today, or recently, it has basically paid off itself for that really short amount of time that I was mining that project. So it's crazy how that works. All right, yeah, I know I've said it a few times. I got to get out of here. It's late. All right, let's see. Tomorrow is Friday, Crypto Fireball Friday. I haven't had any drinks this whole week, so I'm good. I think last Friday I probably drank too much. I think that stream was, I don't even remember it. So if whatever I talked about, hopefully I didn't make too much of a jerk out of myself. Yeah. I woke up the next morning, I'm like, man, did I have a stream last night? Oh man. Yeah, those are fun. Those are fun times, right? But yeah, so I will be I will be streaming tomorrow, Crypto Fireball Friday. I don't know if it's going to be a Fireball Friday or a Screwball Friday. We'll see. We'll see how it works, whether or not Fireball sponsors me or not. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. So it should be fun. I don't know what we'll cover. Maybe I'll do another poll, like a Twitter poll, see what you guys want to chat about. I think that kind of works out good, and it kind of forces me to actually focus on one thing. And that was kind of like the goal of that poll tweet was like, okay, I don't know what I want. There's so much I want to talk about. I just want to get focused on one thing. So maybe I'll do the poll a little bit earlier so I get more participation instead of just 11 votes. But at least that will make me focus on whatever the results are. You know what I mean? Like if I could put 4 out there and like, hey, these are 4 things I want to talk about. You guys pick. I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of like an interaction, right? And with the community. So I think that's kind of neat. Be sure, before I forget, be sure to check out my collection on dogelord.com. If you like shirts and that kind of, I'm a t-shirt guy. All right, it's just the way I am. I like t-shirts, but be sure to check out like these Ravencoin shirts, like I got on now. It's so comfy and it's really nice. I mean, it's really the print on it is super nice. Really nice t-shirts. So good job, Dogelord. But yeah, check out my collection over there, and I'll post that. Actually, you know what? Use my referral link, please. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it can help me out a little bit, help the channel out a little bit if you purchase using my referral link in the description of this video, and that will help out a little bit. But yeah, some really cool stuff over here. My designs, things that I designed, and I really like these Ravencoin shirts, like these colored ones. I love that. I've got this one. I need to wear that one time on stream, maybe. But yeah, I love the Ravencoin colors down here. That was a good idea, good recommendation by Chris over there at Dogelord to create the shirts like this with the white logo and just the different colors of Ravencoin, you know, or close to Ravencoin colors. Thought that was kind of neat. Because if you haven't figured it out, I am a black t-shirt dude. That's basically all I wear. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, and the cool thing about these shirts is like the Bitcoin one and the Ravencoin one are their word cloud, right? You can't really see it like at first, but whenever you get the shirt, you see that there's like names on here and stuff, right? So it's kind of neat to go through it. There's a lot of big names on here: Bitsby Trippin' and Son of a Tech and Crypto Windio, and yeah, all that's in the Bitcoin shirt. I'm actually going to work on a plus some sayings and stuff like that. There's things that have to do with Bitcoin, like node and GPU, and do your own effing research, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, cool names in there. But I am working on a version 2 of this shirt. I haven't got the design down pat just yet, but I think it'll be cool as well. And then the Ravencoin shirt's kind of the same way. It's a word cloud, so it has different names in here and different things to do with Ravencoin. This was mostly like if a YouTuber had done one or more Ravencoin videos, they might be on this shirt. Like you got Son of a Tech, you got I think, can't see all the names on here. Boss Coin's even on here. You know, there's there's some folks on here, and then also it just has different things about Ravencoin on here, like unique assets, rewards. It's got some supporters like Twitter folks like Leon, and it's got the algos on here like X16R, X16R V2, Cawpow, you know, cool stuff like that. So the more you look at it, like you see different things. I think it's a cool design. I don't know. I'm proud of it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I think it's kind of neat. And they're reasonably priced and all that cool stuff. Yeah, so check that out. Yeah, definitely use the link in the description if you would, please. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. That's enough shilling. I've been going almost what was that, an hour and 21 minutes. Good grief. Good grief. That's way too long. I gotta get this under control. I gotta stream a lot shorter periods of time. This is too long. But I do enjoy talking to you guys. So I'm gonna get out of here. I will see you tomorrow night. Be sure to check that out. Crypto something Friday. Probably be having a drink or two. Hopefully you will be too, and we can just chat some crypto. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. You know what to do. Stay savage, everybody.